Hello, hello, Hidden Hermit here. Look, it's the Four of Swords. Four of Swords, Jupiter in Libra. Here is another Four of Swords, and this is from the Bohemian Gothic Tarot. Cracking tarot deck, if you're aware of it. If you're not, then, well, continue watching. So, yes, the Four of Swords. Now, there are many similarities with this card and the Waite-Smith card, and there are also some very marked differences. Now, the Bohemian Gothic, its little niche, its thing, its USP is that it's Gothic. It's a little bit dark. So many of the times, the interpretations of the cards take on a slightly darker, more sinister, foreboding edge. But the Four of Swords is a little bit different. And this information is got from the book. This isn't any great insight from myself. I do have some minor insights, but yeah, this is mostly informed by the book. So it goes on to say that the Four of Swords is about, taking a period of rest, usually a period of rest when things have been a struggle. A la the Waite-Smith, you have this image of a lot of people sort of interpret it as a soldier, perhaps he has been what's the word I'm looking for, cut down in battle. Perhaps he has just taken a rest from the storm. Interesting stained glass window thing, but I won't go into that here because we're talking about this card. Now, the book goes on to say that there's a lot of discussion amongst tarot readers about the deeper meaning of the Four of Swords. Does it actually mean something a little more darker than just taking a bit of rest? The eye of the storm is another way in which I like to interpret it. And it goes on to say that perhaps the Four of Swords in the Bohemian Gothic has actually got a much lighter tone than the Waite-Smith, which is interesting, very interesting, because some of the cards do take on a very dark, shadowy bent. But here we go. Let's have a quick look at what's going on here. So, unlike the Waite-Smith, the person being depicted is not a part of the scenery, and it's a youth. It's somebody young. In fact, I kind of see it as a little bit of a Page of Swords. Maybe the Page of Swords is just taking a rest from his thirsty curiosity and his willingness to learn the ways of the sword, and he is just taking a wee rest there. And it is somebody definitely quite young. Now, they've thrown in a few little elements of something darker. I mean, I quite like the red veil that he's using as a duvet, if you like. Also, to note, you can see a helmet on its side there, and he's still got his sword in his hand. Now, this could sort of suggest that, he's just been fighting and now is having a rest. I don't think so, because if he had, I would suggest that the sword would be a little more weathered, shall we say. But anyway, yeah, so he's clearly taking his rest. Now, you've got this interesting pattern going on with the sarcophagus down here. All these snakes writhing in and out of this skull down here. Now, there is a picture in the book that actually does suggest, well, it doesn't suggest, it kind of implies that this is an actual real thing somewhere, but I don't know where it is. It doesn't say, which is a shame because I'd love to see it. And finally, you have this crow. Raven, even. I think it's probably a raven because, ravens are 20% more sinister than a crow. And he's sitting on the hilt of the sword. The book asks the question, is he a watchful protector, a guardian looking over this young page-like person to sort of keep him safe, or is it something more sinister? Is that raven assessing his vulnerabilities? And I'm quoting straight from the book there. Well, that's a question that you need to ask yourself. The Four of Swords, I believe, is one of those cards that is completely informed by what's around it. In my experience, when the Four of Swords comes up, it's not just a suggestion or a message of taking a rest. It's kind of like a demand. Take some rest or you will burn yourself out. But anyway, I wanted to share with you the Bohemian Gothic one because of its slightly softer take on the interpretation. I think at one point in the book it says too many people look into the Four of Swords and it actually just means to get a rest. So it's good for you, Bohemian Gothic. But as with all the images in this deck, it's, you know, it's a beautiful, evocative, sweeping image. The colors are coming really well on this video, but yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. So there is the Four of Swords from the Bohemian Gothic Tarot. Thank you very much.